10 games as Liverpool manager so far. And I know managers like to look forward, not back, but you had the international break just to take breath. How do you reflect on the beginning for you as Liverpool manager?
It's been a good start, let that be clear. So there was only one game where we weren't happy with, and that was of course the Nottingham Forest game. All the other ones, I think we deserved to get the result we got, although maybe in an ideal world the difference between us and the other team would have been a bit bigger. So every time we won, I think we deserved it, but some games we deserved it more than others in terms of how big the gap was between us and the other team. So it's been a good start, also in Champions League. It's always nice to start off in the best possible way, and we hardly did that except for that one game.
Is actually the biggest challenge or the biggest change like the off-field stuff? I saw you did an interview where you were talking about, obviously your English is excellent, but speaking a different language all day, every day. So is it because you know obviously how to coach a football team, you wouldn't be sat here if you didn't. So is it those off-field bits that are the biggest change for you?
Yeah, for me off-field is the biggest change. It's the first time that I live abroad. It's the first time that I live separately from my family, from my children and my wife.
And that's tough, right? People don't.
And that is,
we don't see.
that's not the ideal world. You would love it to be different than that, but the good thing is that I'm in this building a lot. We work a lot, so there's not a lot of time to sit at home and feel like I'm alone. We are either going away to a Champions League game or preparing for the next one. So that is different. But yeah, the first days, all new faces. Because if you go in the same country to a new club, then you know the physio or all these staff members, you know them from face, and sometimes you even know their names, sometimes you even work with them before. If you change to another club, now going to a different country, everything is new. And then speaking English the whole day, that does get some energy out of you. This combination of new faces, new club, new...
So this might be a really weird question, but you don't think in English yet?
Sometimes I count that in my head in English, but no, mostly I think in Dutch. But the good thing for me was that we, at my former club, finally we also had a lot of foreign players, so all of the meetings, so the football talk was already a lot in English. So talking about football is not that difficult for me, but talking about in normal life, then sometimes you have to dig really deep to come up with the right words. If you have a normal conversation during lunch or during breakfast.
Forgive me if this is too personal, but in terms of your family, are you looking to move them over? I don't know, but are your kids at ages where you think, no, they need to stay in school, stuff like that?
I think it depends on how it will work out this year. So both of them are doing their exams. So it was impossible for them to come. I wouldn't say impossible, but it would not be the right choice to bring them over. And let's see how it works out this year for them, for me, and see how we will do things next year. But first of all, we have to keep on winning for me to keep this job.
Don't come yet, kids. Well, one thing that's really struck me listening to other interviews you've done, you seem really comfortable with the success that's come before. Premier League history tells us that following a great manager, and let's be honest, that's what Jurgen Klopp was for this club, isn't easy. But you seem to sort of wear the pressure, if there is pressure, you seem to wear that quite comfortably?
I think I do, yeah. But that has a lot to do with how much I trust the players that I took over from him as well. So I wasn't surprised because I saw a lot of games of them and I saw a lot of training sessions as well. So I knew the quality they had. And the only thing I have influence on is working with them and prepare them in the best possible way. And that's what me and my staff try to do.
I feel like maybe a less experienced coach, or not even just in football management actually, a less experienced leader goes in, wants to stamp their authority, change this. But I've seen loads of bits where you've said, no, the culture's good, the rules are good. I think you looked back at but some of Jurgen Klopp's training. I feel like you have to be comfortable in your own skin to use the good things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, maybe you should, but I think it would be a real strange decision also if this club have been so successful with Jurgen and so many players are still there, then to change everything. I don't think that would work out really well. So you just keep the things that you like a lot and implement a few ideas that you have yourself as well. But we've got experienced players that are used to a certain way of working. And then it's sometimes also refreshing to change one or two things, but it would be stupid to change everything where they were successful with.
In terms of the things you have changed, you did an interview with Jamie Carragher where you talked about just rebalancing the risk reward a little bit, not always playing the difficult ball. Do you think the players are adjusting to that little change?
Sometimes better than in other moments. But that will always be the situation. You will never reach perfection. We are aiming for it, but we will never reach it. So sometimes a player sees a chance, feels that is the moment to play the difficult ball. And if it happens, I'm the first one to say, well done. But if it doesn't, you see me at the line like, why does he make this difficult choice?
I lastly wanted to ask you about a couple of individuals. You, in the last couple of days, watched quite a lot of clips of Ryan Gravenberch, and it seems obvious with how sort of consistent he is in possession, how well he breaks up play, that he'd be a good number 6. But it obviously wasn't, because I think he did it a bit at Ajax, but you're the guy who's given him a regular run at 6. So what did you see that other people didn't?
He is not the typical number 6 that is making sliding tackles of a 3 or 4 or 5 meter, which a lot of fans also like to see. But if you play in a possession-based team, which he does, it's a lot about keeping the ball, making the right decisions if you have the ball, and bring the ball from the last line towards the forwards. And it's just a bit of how you look at a player. But in the end, he also surprised me, not how comfortable he is with the ball, but also how trustable he is without the ball. And I think that is something he picked up really fast, or was maybe already inside of him, but people and me never saw before.
And is Trent, to pick out another individual, one of the most unique players you've coached, having that kind of firepower that far back in the pitch?
Talking about risk and reward and the choices he makes in which moment, then he's one of the players that can make his decisions sometimes better, in my opinion. But to have a right fullback that is so special with the ball, that's extra quality Liverpool had for so many years, and I'm lucky enough to have that still, because how many fullbacks create so many chances for their team. So he should keep bringing this risk to his game, and in some moments find other options as well. But I also have to address, in my opinion, how well he's defending at Liverpool in the last few games we've played. So I see a player that is bringing his game further up, which was hardly possible because he was already that good. But I think he still does, and that's a good thing.
Absolute last one. I'm not sure how much more you've got to say on the contracts of Trent, Virgil and Salah. Probably not a lot. But I suppose it's been the one shadow, if that's the right word, over your early days. I know it's sort of beyond your control a little bit. But all I was going to ask you is, like, as a Liverpool fan, it would worry me. It would make me anxious having this carrying on. Do you understand that anxiety from people who maybe don't know the full picture?
Maybe even if you know the full picture, I can understand that Liverpool fans feel this anxiety, because all 3 of them have been really important for us for years, and still this year. On the other hand, I would focus on what I see, that these players still bring up the best possible performances. So maybe we are in a good place. We would have been in a far worse place if they had the same contract situation and were not playing good anymore. Then everybody would say it's all about the contract situation. But at this moment, I'm very, very happy with what they are doing, and that's my main concern, more than the long-term concern about next year.